Let's be real, you've probably seen homes go on the market, sell really fast, and you start thinking to yourself, maybe it's time I sell my home too. Before you start calling photographers and thinking about putting a for sale sign in the yard, there's one thing that most sellers don't understand fully, and that is the first and most important document probably in this process is the listing agreement. This isn't just paperwork. This really identifies how your home is going to be represented. It identifies what your agent is responsible for, and most importantly, how to protect you and your family financially. Hey y'all, if you don't know me, I'm Crystal Overton. I'm a realtor here in the Austin metro area, and I specialize in helping first-time buyers and sellers understand how to make their move simple, but also make sure they're doing it the right way. And that starts with knowing exactly what you're signing. Today I'm breaking down a listing agreement, what it really is, why it really matters, and most importantly, what to look out for so that you are protected. A listing agreement is essentially a partnership between you, the homeowner, and a real estate brokerage that you have hired to represent you. It spells out some important things. 1, what is your listing agent even going to do for you? 2, what are you going to agree to as the seller? 3, how long are you guys going to work together, and what are all the terms that go into this listing and putting your home on the market? And 4, how your agent will be compensated. The good news is in Texas is that this is not just a one-size-fits-all form. Every item in that listing agreement is negotiable. The Texas Real Estate Commission says you can negotiate the length of the terms in that document, the commissions for the agents, the marketing plan, the ability to market your property, and how that's going to happen, all the way down to how you can cancel. If you want your agent to have the authority and the ability to market your home listed on the MLS, which is the multiple listing service that all agents use in order to find properties, as well as to help you negotiate the terms when you do receive an offer, this listing agreement is critical. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the type of listing agreement that you actually want. The exclusive right to sell. This is truly the gold standard here in Texas real estate. It means that you're giving your agent the exclusive right to market, promote, and sell your home. Why does this matter? Because it guarantees that your home gets the full attention, the resources, and the effort of that agent to make sure that your home is sold for top dollar, which isn't that what sellers want? When your agent knows that they are truly representing you and exclusively you, they go all in, from professional photos and the different variations of that to drone photos, twilight photos, all of those things, because those cost money up front. So they want to make sure that, again, they are putting the best foot forward to market your home, but also ensuring that they are spending that money and that time wisely. They're going to do targeted ads. They're going to follow up on every buyer lead. They're going to do open houses, elaborate open houses, all of these different things to ensure to get as many eyes on your home as possible so that they can bring a ready, able, and willing buyer. Selling a home is not just about putting a sign in the yard and sitting back and going, I hope someone comes. It's really about coordination, marketing, and also the negotiation. So when you have an exclusive right to sell, which is the listing agreement that you want, that's the golden standard, it truly puts you in a position to have someone on your side ensuring that all of your financial investment is protected. So what exactly are you agreeing to when you sign an exclusive right to sell listing agreement? Here are 5 key things that you're going to be discussing with your agent as you get ready and prepare to sign that listing agreement and put your home on the market. First is the listing price and the marketing plan. This is going to spell out how your home will be promoted, from photos and staging to MLS exposure, all the way down to social media marketing and print marketing. Print marketing's not dead, y'all. Second is commission and compensation. This is the one that people are like, oh my gosh, it's not that scary, y'all. Okay. This truly is going to, when you have the right conversation with your agent, you understand how much you're paying, when it's earned, and then what happens if a buyer agent is involved. Third are broker duties. This essentially is what your agent is committing to. Managing the showings for you, making sure that they're communicating when there is a showing, and then what is that feedback after the showing or after the open house. Negotiating offers when they come in and helping to, again, advise you on what those offers mean, what is your bottom line, and kind of what's going to happen if you were to accept that offer, and then those next steps all the way through closing. Fourth are seller responsibilities. Now, this is things like making sure that your home is in showing condition, allowing access to your home so that people can actually get in and see it. Who buys homes sight unseen now? I hope nobody. And lastly, making sure, and I say lastly, but I mean importantly, making sure that you disclose all material facts. We'll get into that a little bit later. 5 is the protection period. And this identifies a time period in which your agent, the listing agent, is protected or their compensation is protected. So if a buyer comes back to buy the home that initially saw it during the listing period, then your agent may still be due their compensation. And that's fair, right? Because if they actually brought that buyer and for whatever reason they didn't buy during the period, but they bought right after that listing period expired, they still should be compensated for their efforts in bringing you a buyer. Now, of course, there's so much more in the listing agreement. Those are some of the key components, and every one of those sections exists for a reason. And it's really critical that you are signing that listing agreement with confidence, not confusion. All right, now let's talk commission. This is everyone's favorite topic, right? I can't wink, but there's no set rate in Texas. Commission is always negotiable, and it's usually a percentage of whatever that final sales price of your home is. Here's the thing, a good listing agent doesn't just list your home. They run your marketing campaign, they manage logistics, they manage showings, they negotiate on your behalf, and they keep you compliant all the way through closing because nobody wants to be sued. So when you're comparing commission, think value, not just cost. Because you're not just paying them to put a sign in the yard, you're paying for expertise, exposure, protection, which ultimately will net you more in the long run when you sell your home and keep you out of the courtroom. Your agreement will also have start and end dates, which is usually anywhere from 90 to 180 days, really depending on your goals as a home seller and, of course, the market. If your plans change, then have that conversation with your listing agent about how you can cancel that agreement before the actual end term and really what that means. You want to make sure that you have a clear understanding of that in case that happens before you sign the agreement. Now, here's a couple of red flags that I've seen over the years and some horror stories that I've actually heard about that have occurred when people are trying to sell their home and they have a listing agreement. One is there is no clear expiration date on the listing agreement. That's a no-no. That you have to have an expiration date. Second, I would say would be there's no clear terms of commission structure for the listing agent or if a buyer's agent is in the picture. After August 17th, 2024, there have been some very defined changes in how commissions and compensations for agents are discussed and structured. So that shouldn't be much more of a problem as we move forward. However, it's still on my list. 3 would be no clear marketing plan or accountability in the marketing. So what occurs is the sellers may have one thing in mind and the agent has another, and there's no real conversation or accountability about how that marketing is going to go. So who does that fall back on? The agent. And then 4th is verbal promises that never make it to writing. Now, if there's any changes in that listing agreement, there is something that's called an amendment to that listing agreement that would need to be made so that those changes are now in writing. You don't have to sign a complete new listing agreement, but you do have to make sure that those changes are now in writing in order for it to be valid and enforced. Before you sign, here's actually a few smart questions that you want to ask, maybe during that listing presentation while they're sitting at your home and you guys are discussing selling your property and what that's going to look like. Maybe go, hey, I have a couple questions for you. One of those may be, how are you going to keep me updated on offers and showings that you receive? Is this a electronic communication? Is this a phone call every time this occurs? Is this I drop by your house and go, hey, I have an offer. Let's sit down and go over it. What does that look like between you and your agent? Number 2, what is your actual specific marketing plan for my neighborhood specifically? Now, we know you're probably going to market on social media. We know that you're going to put it in the MLS, but what are you going to do for my neighborhood? Because a lot of times sales can happen within the neighborhood specifically. People want to pick their own neighbors, right? So maybe they have family, friends, coworkers, people they know love the area and that they want to live close by. So maybe they would want to know that the home is for sale so that they can market that. 3, what happens if my home doesn't sell during the listing period? Now, that's not ideal, but is it possible? Absolutely. So what happens if we hit that, let's say our agreement was for 90 days? That's a really short listing agreement, but if it was for 90 days and that 90th day hit, what happens now? Right? Do we just pull the sign out of the yard and say, nice to meet you, thank you for trying? Or do we have a plan and action to maybe extend that agreement before we hit that 90 days so that we actually have an opportunity to sell? Right? So what happens? You want to talk about that beforehand. And then what about how do you handle situations if you find your own buyer? You as a homeowner found your own buyer for your home, but your agent is still going to negotiate on your behalf, make sure that you're protected. Oh, there's a lot of things to talk about there. So you want to make sure you have that conversation up front. So here's the bottom line is your listing agreement is more than just a form. It's actually the foundation to the home selling partnership between you and your agent. And when it's done right, it provides clarity. It provides confidence, right? Structure. But when it's done wrong, it can be confusing. It can cause headaches. It can cause frustrations that really don't need to be there if we had sat down and ironed out and gone through all of this in detail and been transparent about it before. If you're thinking of selling soon, I'd be happy to sit down with you and walk you through what that looks like for you and your specific situation. No pressure, just giving you guidance and seeing if now is the right time to sell or if there are other options that may suit your situation better. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below if you want me to do the buyer representation agreement next. Remember, your move doesn't have to be complicated. My goal is to make your move simple.